Okay, so 2.2, we're doing bar graphs and circle graphs. So a Pareto chart is pretty much a bar graph where the bar height represents frequency of an event. Also, it's going to be arranged from left to right in decreasing height. So your biggest bar is going to be the first one listed. For example 3, Charlotte made a list of possible reasons of why she is late to class and kept a checklist for 2 months. On some days, more than one item was checked because several events occurred that caused her to be late. So here we have our list. They want us to make a Pareto chart showing the causes for lateness. Be sure to label the causes, draw the bars using the same vertical scale. I don't want to go up too much. There we go. So when we go through this, you have to look for the biggest number, and that's going to be where you're going to start with your list. So our biggest number there is 20. That's last minute studying. So that means that bar is going to lead everything off. Your y-axis is going to be your frequency, so your numbers there. Your x is going to be the label for that bar. Now we still need to make sure that we have a title to our bar graph. So we're looking at conditions that might cause lateness. Okay, so just like before, your x-axis is going to be your frequency. Now, the smallest number there is 3, and the biggest is 20. So I'm going to go up by 2. Okay, so we're going to start off with the biggest number that we have. So in the chart, the biggest number was 20. So we're going to draw a bar for our 20. Now, sometimes you might see the number listed at the top just to make sure you understand which one it matches up with. And then we need to label something to say what that bar represents. So since we're looking at for 20, it's last minute studying, I'm just going to write study beneath it. Then the next one is 15, that's snoozing. So we're going to go up to about 15. Now, if you notice, my bars are not back to back. There is space there. And I'm going to put snooze. Now, all these bars should all be the same. We'll see how much room I have towards the end here. For the next one, it's 13. So we have breakfast, too long over breakfast. So for 13, I'm going to abbreviate and just say breakfast. This one was 15. This one was 13. Next one is 9. That's talking too long. So we're going to go 9. Then we're going to find something to wear. That has 8. I'll write dress for that one. The car has trouble then for 5. And then the last one is other for 3. And again, your pictures hopefully are better than mine. It should be straight across there. So we have 8, 5, and 3. So this is not going to have bars that are back to back. And then you don't have cumulative frequencies on the left. You don't have relative frequencies on the left. You have your frequency. You also don't have your class boundaries on the bottom. It's your titles for each of your bars. So that's going to be then your Pareto chart. The circle graph then is going to be a circle That's divided up into percents. All of your percents have to add up to 100. Every time you have to add up to 100% with all of your percents. Now they can be slightly off depending on what your rounding is, but it should be very close to 100%. So here we have the results of a survey of 500 people, and we're going to give those in graph form. Question was asked, how long do you spend talking on the telephone after hours? Complete the table, draw a circle graph. So we want to make a graph of this information. So if we look here, we should have a total of 500 people. The fraction that goes with each of these is our 296 out of 500. This is how we found that relative frequency. It's very similar in how you find percent. You divide those two and then multiply it times 100 because you want to turn it into a percent. So to go from decimal to percent, you multiply the decimal times 100. So we would get then 59.2%. I do 83 over 500. When I divide those, I've got 16.6%. I have 121 out of 500. So that gives me a 24.2%. Now, if you add all of these up and you add your fractions together, they should add up to 1. Your percent should add up to 100%. Again, fractions should all add up to 1. You can't have a fraction bigger than 1. And then your percent should add up to 100, not a number bigger than 100, but should be 100. Now I want to draw my circle graph. You should label all of your parts. You should also have a title to it. So here we're looking at the length of time talking on the phone. Now we're going to make a circle here. It doesn't have to be perfect because mine will not be perfect. There's the center. Now when you divide this up, make sure the percents look like they should go where they go. So like for the first one there, it was 59.2%. So 59.2% should not be smaller than half of the circle. It should be over half of your circle. So if you need to go through and lightly divide it up into fourths, because if you divide it into fourths, that means 25% for each. So if that kind of helps you guess where things should go, that might be helpful. So if I would start here and I want 59.2, it has to be bigger than 50%, so about roughly there then. So I would then write 59.2% in here. If you can fit the words in there, fit them in there, but I'm going to use an arrow. And that's going to be less than half an hour. Now I want to go through and do the 24.2. Now 24.2 should be very close to 25%. 25% is a fourth of our circle, so that's roughly about here. And that chunk is more than an hour. Now our last one then is 16.6%, and that was half hour to 1 hour. Again, your picture does not have to be perfect, but I should be able to see what your percents match up with. You should not give me something that is 50% when really what you want to show me is a 23%. So make sure it approximately matches up where it should go on your picture.